A couple of weeks ago, I was on Facebook Marketplace, as you do, and someone was selling a Bassline DB-01 by Erica Synths for £50. £50. And I thought, this must be something wrong here. So I contacted the guy. He was about half an hour away from Bristol, where I live, and in the middle of a field. And the picture that he had on Facebook, it was filthy. And I was really, really worried that it was just not going to work. So I went and I got a lift with a friend of mine, and he was basically building stages for circuses. So I guess off the grid, you could say. And he went and got it, and he came back and he gave it to me, and yes, it was filthy, and no, it didn't have a power supply, but it looked absolutely fine. And it was 50 quid. And I obviously bought it off him, thinking, well, I'm going to get home and it's not going to work. I got home, I booted it up, I gave it a clean, and this is it. And this is the second one I've owned, actually. I had one before, and I sold it, and I regretted it. And I'm so glad I got this back, because this is, for me, the bargain of the decade, if not the year. Last week, I treated myself to a Digitakt. I have owned Elektron gear before. I've had a model Cycles, I've had a model Samples, I had a Syntakt for a week. I just couldn't get on with it. I just found the engines challenging. It wasn't as immediate as I wanted it to be, and so I got rid of it. And in the light of Digitak II now becoming available, I picked up this Digitak I for 370 quid off eBay, which I think is a complete bargain. And I was toying between the two. Do I want to buy a Digitak I, knowing that a Digitak II exists? But I was reading issues with the Digitak II, Overbridge being one of them. And I just got the sense that it wasn't ready yet. It wasn't right for launch. And for under 400 quid for a Digitakt, I picked it up. Slightly drunk purchase, but I thought, what the hey. And I have to say, I have not regretted it for a second. It's been absolutely amazing and really, really opened up my workflow. So I just wanted to show how I've got the two linked up, and also how I'm working with the Faderfox to help control some of the settings of the samples via MIDI. Now, please bear with me. First of all, I'm not going to edit this video. There might be mistakes. I'm not going to apologize for that, because I've had this for a week. I'm still getting my head around it. So apologies in advance, but hey, that's YouTube and you'll just have to bear with me. So what I've done is I've loaded up 8 samples, and I've got 2 MIDI tracks down here, MIDI 9 and 10. 9 is controlling the bassline, and 10 is controlling the Virus TI, which I've got over here, which you can, I need to turn my other camera on. There we go. So we've got the Virus TI functioning as well. I've been toying with selling the Virus. So glad I haven't. I still love it, and being able to use it alongside the Digitakt is such a nice thing to be able to do. So the samples I've got loaded up. Nice big boomy kick. That's from the Carry Lekkerbuscher kick pack, which you can get on Bandcamp. It's only like 8 or 10 euros, something like that, but lots and lots of really high quality kicks. A sort of lower, a second kick actually, which is acting like a tom, just for some rhythm. We've got a closed hi-hat. This really nice percussion, and this is the first instance where the EC4 is controlling the filter. So the MIDI out from the EC4 is coming to the MIDI in on here. If we turn this knob, and I really wanted this more hands-on approach, because I find going in between lots of pages and menus quickly slightly challenging. So having this, and again, I bought this about a year ago, bought it, didn't really use it, and now it's really found a home alongside the Digitakt as well. It's got some resonance on there too. If we have a look at the track and have a look at the filter, you can see it in action. Lovely. And actually on the settings, I've set a low value of about 70, so I can't go too low on the filter, which I think is really, really useful. I've got this kind of cymbal pitched sort of cymbal hit, and I've got some LFO on here affecting the tuning, and this knob is controlling the depth of the LFO. Really, really nice. 6 is a nice big chunky open hi-hat. 7 is a snare or a clap, and 8 is the rides, which are lovely. And then 9, wow. This thing is so good, and for 50 quid it makes it sound even better. So I'm running the audio output into the Digitakt input left, so it's a mono input. And if we look at this track, and if we actually look at the, let me get this right, the master, and again I think, there we go, we can see input 1, and it means I can add a little bit of reverb and delay, which is really, really lovely as well. And then on 10, we've got the Virus. Turn up the filter. Really nice, just some ambience, some texture. The one thing I've noticed, if anyone in the comments can help me with this, the note doesn't stop. I mean, I've got some decay and sustain and a touch of release up, but the note never seems to stop, and until I hard press stop, it doesn't stop. If anyone can tell me why that is, I'd be really, really grateful. So we've got our I've got a pattern, a full bar pattern set up. I've only got one pattern for the purpose of this. It will develop into a song at some point, and I've discovered mute mode, which is really, really handy as well. So let's just play the kick and those to start off with, so you get a sense of how lovely this DB-01 bassline is. So we're running some LFO level and the LFO rate. If I turn the LFO down, you'll hear that we just get, I mean, that's perfectly good. If we have a look at the track, 9, if we have a look at the notes, so you can see that's the only note that's got some condition on it. So if we look at the trigger, you can see it's going up to C#4. And I think it has a little bit of length added to it as well. Yeah. So that's the only note that changes pitch. But the real difference is when you hear the LFO coming in. It just gives it so much movement. Oh my god, it's so nice. So we're on the low pass, I think that's a sawtooth, and no detuning, although we can detune it. And we can add some drive, but I'm keeping it clean and warm for the moment. There is also a sub, there's a little bit of sub in there. Too much and it changes the characteristic of the sound for me. So there we go, let's take the detune down. Okay, let's get some hi-hats in. So I've been, again, and I know for Digitakt users this is nothing new, but if you're new to Digitakt, it's worth knowing what's going on here. So let's come out of here and let's go to track 3. So we can see that the hi-hat pattern in effect, and we can see we've got some slight changes in the sound. That one there is, I believe, pitching slightly, so the sample pitch is changing. Have we got anything else going on? I don't think so. I think there is a ratchet going on 16, or a retrig, which you can see there. The retrig is really, really nice, I have to say. It adds just so much movement to it. So we've got the hi-hat. Let's get the open hi-hat in. And again, if we have a look at these notes, I think all I've done is some very slight changes in volume level, so 89% or 89. That one's slightly different. So again, just some movement and variation on the sound. And let's get in the other. This is our sort of low end percussion sort of tone. I'm going to go too crazy on it. Okay, now I have worked in a fill, which we'll hear on page 4, which is going to take the kick out. Or when we get to it. Where's it gone? First mistake. There you go, some extra kicks on the fill as well. So in case you don't know how to do that, let's go to our kick track. Let's go to page, let's go to the notes, let's go to page 4, and you can see the extra notes are in there. And if we hold down and go to trigger, I'm hoping, let me work this out. That should be on the fill. Come on down. Let me just double check it. Yes. So I think I had it set to when the fill is on, the note goes off. Does that make sense? I hope I haven't fucked that up. We'll soon find out. Sometimes you can get a bit lost in this. So let's try again with the fill. Yeah, that's correct. So those notes play, but the other ones don't. That's right. So if we look back at our notes, look at page 4. That one is still showing. It's not showing. There we go. Fill off. Fill off. And I think that one, I don't know why it's not fill off, but anyway. So yes, working with the fill adds a lot. And I've also done it with some snares as well. So let's bring the snare track in. On 7. We've got an end note on occasion. That plays all the time, but these are going to play on the fill. And I love that. I mean, I just can't get enough of doing that. It adds so much easy arranging that you'd have to program normally if you're working in a DAW. And then we've got our cymbals. So really nice rides coming in. Let's give it a bit of a build up. I'm going to trigger 5 and 8. So 5 again is this little really nice cymbal, sort of percussion cymbal. And really cool when we add the LFO to it. Okay, let's add the virus in. So the virus is quite simple, just some fourth note, on the beat every time. Again, it's just to add that texture. And let's do our fill again. Now we're just getting lost in playing. Let's unmute the virus. Oh, mute the virus, sorry. Change the filter on that percussion. I don't mind the fact that the virus is kind of still sort of playing in the background. It adds just a really nice texture. But again, like I said, if you know how to stop it, please let me know. Why aren't the notes stopping? And that is it. That is it. So that's my awesome little setup that I've got. Three black boxes all sat next to each other. I'm so, I can now see why people wax lyrical about the Digitakt. I thought it was going to be much more challenging to work with. Maybe I've got an advantage having used model cycles and model samples and having a little bit of a play with the syntax, but this thing is amazing. So keep your eyes open for more Elektron-based videos.